Rodney, I want to be positive. Let's be positive first about the Eagles because the Eagles look sluggish. The missed field goals, missed extra point. They just were lacking something for most of the game. And I'm going to stray into the negative because it was 12-10, lackluster showing by the Eagles. Washington drives down the field. 4th and 2 from the Philly 26. 44-yard field goal. Now, they're not automatic. We've seen plenty of field goals missed in recent weeks. We saw a couple missed last night, but not by Zane Gonzalez, who would have been attempting it for the Commanders. And instead of kicking the field goal and going up 13-12 with 8 minutes left and putting pressure on the Eagles to answer, knowing they'd be behind, Commanders went for it, didn't get it. Eagles have the lead and the ball. And then not long after that, the dam breaks. There's the play. There was a bobbled snap, and there were some blocking issues, and it really didn't work from an execution standpoint. That's what Dan Quinn, coach of the Commanders, said after the game. Bold move, didn't like the execution. Well, no. But I don't like the decision. We get so caught up in analytics, and the analytics were against it. We get so caught up in being aggressive. That's what he was. He was just aggressive for the sake of being aggressive. I didn't like it at the time. I don't like it now.
At that point in time in the game, when you're struggling, you're going back and forth, trying to score points, and it's a 40-something yard field goal. You should be able to line up and kick the field goal. There's no way in the world I go for it on 4th and 2 in that situation. I thought it was a relatively easy field goal. I mean, both these teams, they play on the East Coast. They play outside. They should be used to the weather. And for Dan Quinn, I just thought that was the turning point of the game. And I actually wrote it down in my notes. I said, turning point of the game, this field goal. And I just felt like it was a big, big mistake doing that. And he should have gone for the points, Mike.
Anytime that a coach comes out for his post-game press conference and addresses a topic before he's even asked the question, it's a big deal. It's a big deal internally. It's a big deal externally. And I waited for his press conference last night. And right out of the gates, he addressed the 4th and 2. And he said, we wanted to be bold. And again, analytics go against it. But we've gotten all twisted up in this idea that if you're hiding behind analytics, you can do anything you want to do. And all you have to say is the analytics told me to do it. When you defy the analytics and you're bold just for the sake of being bold, that's a mistake. And one of the factors, and this is something Dean Pease said, I mention him every week, it seems like, but I know that he coached you, and you've got a high opinion of him, and he knows the game as well as anyone. When he was asked about analytics a couple of years ago, one of the first questions is, what's the score? What's not how far ahead or behind, but how many points have been scored tonight? Are they at a premium? If it's 35-33, that's one thing. That means you're moving the ball pretty well on both sides of the ball, 4th and 2, probably in a better position to get it. When it's 12-10 with 8 minutes left, those points are precious. And taking that lead is important. Taking back some momentum and putting pressure on the Eagles. There's no pressure on the Eagles when they're up 12-10. There's pressure on the Eagles when they're down 13-12. And that gets lost in all the talk about percentage chance of win and do this and do that. When you just look at the chart, you want momentum to go back your way and you want pressure to go their way.
Yeah, but I think the biggest thing is from a coaching standpoint, stop looking at a piece of paper and telling you what you should do. It should be about the feel of the game. You're a coach. You've coached these guys all week. You're right there in the game, and you have to have a feel for the game. So to me, the analytics is one thing. It's a sheet of paper, and it's got certain numbers and percentages. But at the end of the day, it doesn't take into consideration all the factors within the game. And that's why you're a head coach, because you have to have the feel of the game. Is my offense hot? Is my offensive line struggling? Are they playing extremely well? These are things that you have to take in consideration. How well is my defense playing? Are we giving up big plays? Can we stop the run? And when you start doing that, then you really start to open up the big picture. But there's no way, like I said, 4th down and 2, a 40-some yard field goal in those conditions, that should be an easy field goal for the Washington Commanders. And once you miss, now all the momentum changes. You start to second guess yourself. Guys on the sidelines say, hey, man, we should have just kicked the field goal. Everyone starts to walk around with their head down. Now it affects the entire team. But I do believe because he addressed it so quickly, he knew that it was a mistake. You give your kicker an opportunity to make that kick. Why is he on the team if you won't give him a chance?
He said, bold call, but I would also say we're prepared for that moment. This is Dan Quinn. Don't love the execution, but we've been an excellent fourth down team. Going into it, we knew we'd have to take our shots against a tough division team on the road. We thought that was an appropriate one. And that
you didn't need
that
it at that
speaks
time,
to,
though.
Right,
They
exactly. I'm reading between the lines here. This is like pre-baking the cake. Like, this is all the stuff we thought we'd have to do. And they were so caught up in justifying the time they spent coming up with whatever plan they had going into the game, they lost sight of what was happening in the game. Sometimes you have to change your plans based on what's happening in the game. Hey, if we want to win this game, we need to be bold. Well, wait a minute. If we want to win this game, let's just kick the field goal. We're only down by 2 points. We've had them on the ropes all game long. Let's take back the momentum. It's just amazing to me. I know sometimes coaches want football to seem more complicated than it is, Rodney. Sometimes it's pretty damn simple. And when you're down by 2 points and you're looking at a 44-yard field goal with 8 minutes left in the game, you probably should take the lead. Even if it is 35-33, take the lead. Especially when it's 12-10, take the lead.
Yeah, what I see from the Washington Commanders offensively, I see a team that's still really trying to find their identity. Obviously, Terry McLaurin, he's had a good year, but they just don't have a lot of depth at the wide receiver spot. They don't have a lot of weapons that really scare you, and that's one of the reasons why it seems like they're forced to have to use two running backs a lot of time, that pony formation, as we saw last night.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.